Congresswoman Nan Hayworth will be here after the break with more. And welcome back to Capitol Tonight. My next guest is one of the 230 House Republicans who voted for the Cut, Cap, and Balance bill yesterday. She is Hudson Valley Congresswoman Nan Hayworth. Congresswoman, thanks for your time tonight.
My pleasure.
So let's get right to it. What's the status of the debt negotiations?
Well, as you know, we did in the House majority. We passed the Cut, Cap, and Balance bill yesterday, and we were joined by several Democratic colleagues, which was certainly welcome. And that is a very sound proposal that I would certainly love to see pass the Senate, and it could still do so. And that would be welcome indeed. And in the meantime, we know the president said that he would veto it, but he and our House Speaker and our Majority Leader are meeting at the White House as we are on air right now, and they continue to negotiate and to discuss what we face together. We have a deadline to meet.
Well, if the president, though, says that he's going to veto it and that its fate is somewhat uncertain in the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats, was this a waste of time, essentially, just to go with a Cut, Cap, and Balance bill as opposed to going with something that maybe the president and the Senate would have gone along with?
No, Nick, not because we have been elected we were hired, if you will, to represent fiscal responsibility, because of course we know that the federal government right now is consuming nearly 25% of our gross domestic product. Americans are acutely aware that that very high spending, that escalating spending over the past couple of years, rapidly escalating, has resulted in the loss of millions of jobs in this country, well over a million jobs at least. 14 million Americans now need to find work. They very much need us to revive the economy, and we can't do that if the federal government is taking so much from us. So to cut and cap and balance, balanced budget amendment, that is to say, for the short and the medium and the long term, is a very responsible approach that would certainly revive our economy.
The president said earlier today, or has indicated, that he would be open to possibly a short-term debt deal. Is that something that you see possibly on the horizon, a debt deal that would last for maybe several months in order to just stave off a short-term crisis?
It's certainly one possibility. All of us would like to see a resolution that's as comprehensive as possible, realizing, of course, that the complexities of that kind of a resolution are greater. So we will certainly, all of us together, act responsibly to assure that the Treasury can cover our obligations as of August 2nd. That is the limiting factor, in a sense, and we recognize that. And on the Republican side, of course, we won't raise taxes. The president himself said it in December of 2010, and he was right. We can't afford to raise taxes in this economy, and that's no less true today, unfortunately.
But would you vote for a deal that would include adjustments to the tax rate, that would include closing loopholes, as the president's pointed out, and some congressional Democrats have pointed out, that would close loopholes for the wealthy, for corporations? Is that something that you would go along with ultimately if it meant staving off a default?
If it's not a net tax increase, if those kinds of modifications are accompanied by a flatter, fairer overall tax rate, so something like that, I think a lot of us could get behind if there's not a net tax increase. The idea then being that when we make a flatter, fairer tax code, we will enable more Americans to participate in the marketplace. And then we gain revenues through growth. When we get 14 million Americans back to work, the more of those folks we get working again, the better our tax revenues will be, because they'll be able to participate in the normal process of contributing. So that's really the big idea, and that is something that we can certainly do together.
Speaker John Boehner seems to have tried to come up with some sort of compromise, some sort of deal here. However, members of the rank-and-file members of the House have said that they don't want to perform any deal, like you said, that would include tax increases or anything that wasn't a net flattening of the tax rate, if you will. What does this say about Speaker Boehner's leadership, though, through this? It seems like, at least there's been some indications that he's disagreed publicly with House Majority Leader Eric Cantor. Do you still back John Boehner as the Speaker? Do you think he's done a good job through these negotiations with the President?
Well, number one, Nick, I join our House majority in saying that we will not accept a net tax increase. A modification of the tax, flatter, fairer, but no net increase. I'm with you. That's number one. Number two, I have full confidence in our Speaker. He is an intelligent man. He has a great heart. He has the institutional memory. He has the tact and discretion and diplomatic skills that we need to get this job done. I have an equally complete faith in Eric Cantor, who is intelligent and impassioned and ready to do this job as well. They make a great team, and they are working with enormous dedication in behalf of the American people. They really see it as their duty. They are not acting politically. They are acting on the basis of conviction, and I have confidence in them, every confidence.
Very quickly, and I just want to get to one more topic before we wrap up here. Do you think there will be a deal? Do you think something will be voted on before that August 2nd deadline?
I do, absolutely.
Okay, and just to change topics here, one issue that you've raised today is about a program called PACE, which is something that allows homeowners to undertake energy efficiency programs within their own house, and it's something that you say has had some unwarranted federal oversight in this issue. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. PACE is an acronym for Property Assessed Clean Energy, and it's a program that allows states, like our own state of New York, to enable municipalities to set up special assessment districts so that residents who are either homeowners or property owners, because this applies to business property too, can make energy saving improvements on their home or on their property and pay for those improvements over the course of 20 years or less through an increase in their property taxes. And that increase in property taxes only applies to those who participate in the program. It's specific for each property, and it includes payment for the expenses of the program. So there's no net cost to taxpayers, and yet obviously it has energy savings for the property owners, so that's a great incentive for them to do it. They can diminish their upfront costs that might otherwise stand in the way. They help to create jobs because, of course, they need an energy assessment and then all the work that has to be done to make sure that these improvements occur. So it's a win-win-win. Our municipalities that then have more people working to create these improvements will also enjoy certain revenues, again, because they enter the revenue stream with what they're doing. So it's a great program, and the problem is the federal government stepped in and objected. The Federal Housing Finance Authority, FHFA, said that homeowners or property owners who have their mortgages financed through Fannie or Freddie, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, the big GSEs, couldn't participate in the program because they misinterpreted how the program interacts with the mortgages. What we're doing with this law is saying, you know what, folks? We can fix this. We can give you the assurances that you need on the FHFA side that this is not going to be any sort of harm to our federal government's collection on the mortgages that it backs up. And we can go forward and allow our states to enable homeowners to do these great things.
Okay, unfortunately, we're out of time. Congresswoman Nan Hayworth, thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Nick.